Is the mic working? Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshyam Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shri He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. Hare Krishna, begging the blessings of all the devotees, Adi Purush Prabhu, Virgin Prabhu and everyone, so that we can speak, because we are speaking from Vyasa's and speak the same conclusions of Srila Vyasadeva, establishing Shri Krishna as the supreme object of worship and love, Bhakti as the process of uh, achieving or worshipping Shri Krishna, and Shri Guru and Parampara as the only source of pure devotional service. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity this morning. Hare Krishna, extremely grateful for this. Reciting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 5, verses 26, 27, and 28. 26th verse. Kachit pashavyam nirujam bhuri ambudrina virudam brihadvanam tadaduna yatra se tvam suhurud vrataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: My dear friend Nanda Maharaj, in the place where you are living with your friends, is the forest favorable for the animals, the cows? I hope there is no disease or inconvenience. The place must be full of water, grass, and other plants. Purport: For human happiness, one must care for the animals, especially the cows. Vasudev therefore inquired whether there was a good arrangement for the animals where Nanda Maharaj lived. For the proper pursuit of human happiness, there must be arrangements for the protection of cows. This means that there must be forests and adequate pasturing grounds full of grass and water. If the animals are happy, there will be an ample supply of milk from which human beings will benefit by deriving many milk products with which to live happily. As enjoined in Bhagavad Gita 1844, Krishi go rakshavanijam vaishya karma svabhavajam. Without giving proper facilities to the animals, how can a human society be happy? That people are raising cattle to send to the slaughterhouse is a great sin. By this demoniac enterprise, people are ruining their chance for a truly human life. Because they are not giving any importance to the instructions of Krishna, the advancement of their so called civilization resembles the crazy efforts of men in a lunatic asylum. Bhratar mama sutak kachin matra sah bhavat braje tatam bhavantam manvano bhavatyam upalalitah. My son Baladev, being raised by you and your wife Yashoda Devi, considers you his father and mother. Is he living very peacefully in your home with his real mother Rohini? पुंशस्त्रिवर्गो विहितः सुहृदो हि अनुभावितः नतेषु क्लिश्यमानेषु त्रिवर्गो अर्थाय कल्पते. Translation: when one's friends and relatives are properly situated, one's religion, economic development, and sense gratification, as described in the Vedic literatures, are beneficial. Otherwise, if one's friends and relatives are in distress, these three cannot offer any happiness. Purport: Vasudev regretfully informed Nanda Maharaj that although he had his wife and children, he could not properly discharge his duty of maintaining them and was therefore unhappy. So in the first verse, 26th verse, purport, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about the importance of protecting cows and also engaging at least some of the population engaging in agricultural activities which supports natural living or simple living and high thinking, as Srila Prabhupada said. And the advantages of that is, the first advantage is at least we don't go to hell. That's what Srila Prabhupada's purport is kind of like hinting. At least you don't go to hell. Otherwise, the modern civilization for sure sends all these people who are killing animals, eating animals, supporting them. And many a times, I'm just like trying to little bit like shake myself, like we think we are not eating meat as devotees, but we also buy things from Whole Foods and all these kind of places who also sell meat. So it does not absolve us of any like all responsibility. We are also supporting the same economy in one way or other way. So it's not that we don't have any responsibility in that. We have some minute responsibility also while living in the society. So that's the nature of Kali Yuga. Whether you want it or you don't want it, you will be forcefully engaging in sinful activities knowingly or unknowingly. So there is no way through karma kanda process we can purify ourselves, because we don't even know what kind of karmas we have performed in this age. Like somebody may be working very politely behind a screen for looking at their laptop all day. They may be working for a slaughterhouse maintaining their inventory. So we just don't know. It's literally ugra karma in the Kali Yuga. Anything, all kinds of posh work that people think that they do is all like very much related to these four regulative principles that we are supposed to, against those four regulative principles predominantly. So the source of money is very questionable in Kali Yuga. That's why people make millions of dollars and can never be happy, because it's all built on the platform of sin. Sin can never produce happiness, which is like satisfying at heart. So that is why there is predominant amount of unhappiness, depression, and like anxiety, even though people seems to be having more economic development than like 100 years back. But people are more and more miserable because it's all based on sinful tendencies. So that is the importance of the lifestyle that Srila Prabhupada is prescribing. Even if we don't have a chance to live at the farm, at least we can situate ourselves in the mode of goodness and practice devotional service and spread the same knowledge to others. So in that way, we can do whatever benefit we can give to others. And eventually, if people can live in a farm, take up simple living, high thinking in a way that Srila Prabhupada mentioned of living outside these cities without these influences of all these demoniac influences of corporates and advertisement. So it'll be great. Just wish and hope like the devotees can do that more and more. Since I have very little realization in that topic, I'm not going to speak more, because that I won't feel like much comfortable without having without like practicing or like without having much realization. It's not that whatever I'm going to speak, the rest I'm practicing or having realization. It's just I'm comfortable speaking those topics. So the third verse of this three verses that I read reads that Vasudev is speaking to Nanda Maharaj. So we all been following all these verses that Vasudeva is finally came to know that Nanda Maharaj is in Mathura. So he's very eager to meet Nanda Maharaj. Of course, also to know about Krishna and Balaram, because two of his sons are now growing up in Nanda Maharaj's care. And the beauty is, one of the sons is known to Nanda Maharaj as Vasudev's son, but the other son is not known. But Vasudev is like still doubtful. Did Nanda Maharaj kind of come to know that Krishna is my son and it's not their son? So that is why he is also utilizing these opportunities to go on to meet Nanda Maharaj, and also he is expressing some of the sentiments here. So the thing Vishwanath Chakravarti says in this purport of this verse, he says, Nanda Maharaj, Vasudeva is saying, "Oh Nanda Maharaj, my household life is a failure actually, because I could not protect my wife when she was imprisoned. I could not protect any of my children. 6 of my children were killed right before my eyes, and I could not protect them. And one of my daughters also were also like attempted to kill, and she went back. So in that sense, I could not protect any of my children. And what to speak of that, my other son, who is the son of Rohini, is also growing up with you. He is not yet named as per Bhagavatam's, as per the past tense. He is not yet named now. That's why he is saying just Mama Sutta. He's not naming him. He's just calling him Mama Sutta. But Prabhupada is writing like devotees are writing Baladev. They're giving the name because he is son of Rohini. Eventually, he'll be named as Baladev. So he is saying, even my other wives and my other son, they're all like with you. So my household life like is kind of a failure. Like I haven't done my duties. So there is a kind of a regret he is expressing. However, right in the next verse, I don't want to hijack tomorrow's verse, but right in the next verse, after whatever Nanda Maharaj says, he feels very happy internally, because he comes to know that Krishna is safe. And also Nanda Maharaj hasn't figured out that Krishna is Vasudev's son. Of course, there is Gaudiya commentary, which is a separate side story. It's the main story, but it has become like a side story. So Vasudev is very happy that, okay, at least Krishna is safe, Ananda Maharaj or others haven't figured out, so then they won't tell others, then Kamsa wouldn't come to know, and at least both of my sons will remain happy. So that is one of the main purposes of him visiting Nanda Maharaj, to make sure that Krishna and Balaram are safe. So here, the mood of failure is there. So that's what we are just going to discuss today. A few minutes after that, I'll open up for discussion. So failure is like a common experience in life, nothing new. But the thing is, like, people don't know how to handle failures. Of course, devotees know, but people in general may not. So the general attitude towards failure is like depression is one of the direct result of failure. When people think they have failed, or if others come to know that they're losers, so then it kind of like makes them feel like depressed. Sorry for using it, but because they feel it's like it's not in their control. The thing is not in their control. But the actual thing is, when things are not in our control, it's not out of control. It is in Krishna's control. But people don't tend to see that. Even as devotees, many a times we forget to see that, okay, this is not under my control, so it's out of control. It's actually not out of control. Nothing in this world is out of control. It's all under Krishna's control. When he breathes in, everything will go in. It's like, until then, we can do whatever we want. So it's all under his control ultimately. So since usually people get depressed these days, like you have a lot of motivational wisdom that we need, because in mode of passion, as per Bhagavad Gita, it says Trishna Sangha, means the person has hankering, has attachment, and he works hard. Karma Sangyena Sanginam, like it gets bound by activities. Mode of passion binds people with activities. But Kali Yuga is so horrible that people don't even have that much enough passion to actually continue to endeavor for material activities. They become so depressed that they need so much motivational wisdom just to live, to actually just push a day. They need someone to just really pep them up with, you can do it, and you can make it. Like, there's so much push is required just to engage in daily life. It's not like they're going to do some other different activity or anything. They're not even like trying to do some internal work, which is much more difficult. It's just like usual life, but it is so tiring in Kali Yuga because of the mode of ignorance. They need that motivational wisdom just to actually live, just to keep themselves breathing, to have make a living, to keep their hands to mouth. For that, they need motivation. So we can understand how much even ignorance the Kali Yuga has like produced now. And so people kind of give a lot of wisdom, like you can make it and you can do it. But the problem is, this is kind of at least brings them from ignorance to passion. It's some kind of service on a certain level, we understand. But the problem, when we try to give some solution without Krishna, the solution brings more problems. Dukkha aushadam tadapi dukkham atadhyaham. So it brings more problems. So what is the problem with these kind of blind motivation? You can do it, you can do it. Is the problem is when they can do it, they will take themselves, they'll blame themselves as the result. Because when you say you can do it, you are just discounting all other factors that is required in trying to accomplish some result. So they think they are the only cause of their result when the success comes. So the same happens when the failure comes. And the world is designed not to just offer success to us all the time. Pretty much like 90%, 99% of the people who are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, they're all like dreaming to make it, but it's only the 1% who makes it. So the problem is people will not be just in the mood of like just doing it for the sake of duty, but they will think they are the only cause of their results. So they will also blame themselves, depressed, become so depressed and be in so much anxiety when things don't work out the way they want. So the motivational wisdom is good, but not taking it in a full, like a holistic way, thinking only oneself as a reason for one success or failure causes more and more depression. So with all the glitter of the modern world, people only, even though they look like they're passionate, they're only sinking more and more into ignorance because of this. And they surely don't know how to face failures, because people, just because their YouTube channel is not like becoming a viral channel or something, people commit suicide. Like people like, okay, like when the TikTok was banned in India, the people had millions of followers. Some of them committed suicide. Some of them got into depression. They didn't know what to do. Their identity was one fine day like just shattered, because all their thought who they are was like, I'm a TikTok star. I have like 5 million followers in TikTok. And one day the government bans it and TikTok is no more. You can't even install it on your phone. So your identity is gone. So then people make all these on a very, very like Kamala Dala Jala Jeevana Talamala kind of a tottering platform. And it just goes with a wind. With one rule, everything goes away. So there is no electricity. So then everything will be gone. So I'm just hoping that day comes, like not so soon, but also soon. Like once there is no electricity, people will be forced to do. But Kali Yuga demons, they'll make something. They'll create high electricity from water, but they'll continue to enjoy. They'll try to squeeze their last drop of enjoyment possible in the material world until Kalki comes. So that's why there will be electricity for a long time, somewhere or other. So this is general how like people kind of deal with failures. But as devotees, we are also taught how to deal with failures. So there are many ways a devotee looks at. Ultimately, it's one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, but I'll just try to break it down. So facing failures as a devotee, a person or a devotee actually thinks this is an act of Krishna to slacken the knot of my false ego, because we also have this idea, I am the doer. I get things done. I'm so good. I'm so talented. That we have like a self story going on inside, like about ourselves, like it's the continuous background music. But that false ego is very strong. So once in a while, we have to face failures, and we can understand if we are contemplative. Oh yeah, I'm not the doer. I was just thinking I can do it myself. So Krishna, you have given me this. So this is a chance for me to realize that I'm not the only doer. I'm also a doer, but I'm not the only doer. So I also need your sanction, Krishna, for anything to happen. So this is what you have sanctioned, so let me accept it. So that's one way of looking at failures. And the other is like to think this is the test of Krishna, to see how I'm responding to this, to every situation, because we say surrender is moment to moment. So, okay, this particular situation is happening to me. It's an apparent failure. So let me see. I'm thinking like how Krishna is watching me. How am I going to respond to this? Am I going to turn to him, or going to just think like kind of like be in that depression mode of self-loathing? And also as a test of our faith in Krishna, because do we become disheartened just because some things does not turn out the way we want it to turn? Or we turn to Krishna to pray for his direction. Okay, this is how this thing has turned up. So what can I do from this person? How can I serve you? So to think like this. Ultimately, this is all mercy of Krishna. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam says, this famous verse. Tatteno kampam susamikshamano vunjana evatmakritam vipakam. So tatteno kampam, anukampam. This is your mercy. To see that is to say it's very easy, but to experience difficulties in life, uh, to face intense situations, economic problems, family problems, relationship problems. These are all like very, maybe temporary in the ultimate sense, but they are very real. It affects us, and people need support, guidance, and at the same time, they also need to internally know everything that happens, whether it is externally good or bad, is actually a mercy of Krishna. It's very high to speak, but it is very, very practical. If a person really comes to that platform, he will be happy, whatever happens to his life. So if we want sustainable happiness, it's not that we hope for success all the time and that's how we'll be happy. No, sustainable happiness in the material world is to prepare ourselves for both success and failure, because these things will continue to change. If our happiness is dependent on only success, very sorry, we won't be happy for majority of our life, because that's not how life works here. So it's better to train ourselves as devotees to see everything as Krishna's mercy, whether it's successful, failure, being praised, being despised, uh, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, to see that, to learn to see this as mercy of Krishna, and to learn and be humble, and accept that suffering as a reaction to one's past karma. It's technically not, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport to that verse, it's a special arrangement of Krishna. The reactions that a devotee apparently suffers, which looks like a sinful reaction, is not a sinful reaction because his life is under Krishna's control. So it is Krishna's arrangement that this devotee, the last vestiges of false ego, the enjoying tendency actually goes away. That's why Krishna is making this arrangement. So this devotee willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishment and continues offering respects and obeisances to the Lord with his heart, words, and body. Such a bona fide servant of the Lord, considering all hardship a small price to pay for gaining the personal association of the Lord, certainly becomes a legitimate son of God, as indicated here by the words of Dayabak. So this I read from Srila Prabhupada's purport. So in essence, this devotee continues his or her devotional service to Krishna amidst success or failure in this world, while endeavoring to do their best to fulfill life's responsibilities, guided by Guru and Shastra. So the thing is, okay, there is when there is success and failure in my activities, whether it's devotional activities, direct devotional activities, or indirect devotional activities like engaging in job and taking care of family like these. So that's, I take shelter of Krishna, or devotional endeavors or devotional service. What if my devotional service itself looks like a failure? Like my hearing, chanting, my my practice of devotional service, regulative principles, they themselves, like I'm trying to take shelter of them, but they themselves look like a questionable endeavor from my part. So what do I do? Where is my hope? How do I like keep myself together when things happen to me? So even if when there is when we consider our devotional endeavors a failure, it's never a failure. Devotional endeavors are never a failure. That's what Krishna says. Neha vikramanasho asti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little endeavor can actually save us from a big danger. So the biggest danger is death, or gliding into lowest species of life, and in that way losing Krishna's consciousness or awareness about Krishna. So that failure will never happen, even if we are doing little devotional service. So we don't need to worry. We don't need to give up Krishna or association. So the guilt should not come between us and Krishna. The guilt should come between us and sin. So we should feel, oh, I'll lose Krishna, so let me stay away from these things which are unfavorable. I'll displease my guru, I'll displease Srila Prabhupada, let me stay away from these things. So that should be the gradual development of consciousness, that anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjana. I accept what is favorable and I reject what is unfavorable for devotional service. So a scanning machine, the mind becomes the intelligence becomes a scanning machine. Is it favorable for Krishna consciousness? Okay, I accept it. Is it unfavorable? I reject it. To come to that level, that is our prayer. That's what we pray when we are not pure. We don't go to Krishna and say, we don't, like, many a times the prayer is also very unconscious and impersonal, even though it's personal act. If we don't express what is the problem within ourselves or anything, we just ask if everything is good. Krishna, you're doing good, like, thank you very much for everything, and then we just go away. We just keep a little bit of a facade with Krishna also. There we have to express, I'm really not having a taste. It's not that I want only taste, it's actually to serve you. So let me be like more and more attached to you and less distracted through these sensory impulses. So in this way, we pray to Krishna, never give up devotional service. Continue wherever we are in devotional service, whatever quality we are able to perform currently. We continue, keep doing it, stick with it. And then we consider, even if there are difficulties, we see it as a test of Krishna. And we know Krishna is behind us, holding our hands. And eventually we will be purified. So this hope is required. A sadhaka can only cross anartha nivritti with two things. One is hope against hope that Krishna will save me, and the hope against hope that my guru will never reject me, however fallen I am. This hope is what is going to carry this soul across this the difficult phase of anartha nivritti, which is not even like completely done, but to the degree anartha nivritti is done, nishta will gradually manifest. More and more attachment to performing devotional service, being dedicated to one's spiritual master's instructions manifest to the degree we become purified. For that, we should be detached from passionate and ignorant activities. From our side, we should be ready to do that. We should be willing to do that. So in this way, when we don't leave behind Krishna's support, but continue holding on to Krishna and Guru's lotus feet, by that we will eventually become, our spiritual life will become a success. It's never a failure, but it will advance actually. So in that sense, we don't need to consider, oh, how can I take shelter of my devotional service, which is already shaky? No, continue to take shelter. That's the best we have today. And that has brought us all the way here. So it can take us forward also. So we need to have that faith. And Krishna is not our average God of like religious conceptions. He is Saragrahi Janardana. He is not an average conception of God of any mundane scholar, academician, or even Abrahamic religions. I'm not denouncing them, but they may not have the full developed idea or conception of Bhagavan. But Krishna is that absolute truth. He is more magnanimous. He is Saragrahi Janardana. Because Bhagavatam is to give us hope. Bhagavatam is to establish that Krishna is the absolute truth. Bhakti is the only process. And Krishna is supremely merciful, and we can take shelter of him. And we can see this in the pastimes of various incarnations of Krishna and Krishna, that Jatayu, his devotional endeavor, is apparently a failure. For those who, I think everyone knows a little bit of Ramayana, he tried to save, Jatayu tried to save Sita when she was being abducted by Ravana, but he did not succeed. But Lord Ram really appreciated the efforts of Jatayu, and Jatayu was in Vatsalya Rasa, the Sri Vaishnavas say. That's why Lord Ram performed the last rites of Jatayu. Dashrath Maharaj, the very own father of Lord Ramachandra, did not have that fortune of being last rites being performed by his son Lord Ram. But Jatayu had that opportunity, that the last rites of final funeral rites were performed by the same Supreme Lord. And he did not consider, Jatayu, you failed in the mission. You didn't save Sita. What is the use of your life? Like, means I'm just displeased with you. No, he was not displeased. He endeavored to save Mother Sita. That's all mattered. So the success is in our endeavoring in Krishna consciousness. It's not about the result. There are certain standards of success. Like, okay, if you're preaching, how many people became devotees? That is one standard of success, but that is not the only standard of success. So in life, because of modes of passion and ignorance, Kali Yuga, people have created some standard of success, and they think that is, at that point of time, that is the only standard of success. If I don't clear my exams, I'm a failure. I commit suicide. If my TikTok is not like going viral, I'm a failure. I like jump off a building. No, that is not the only standard of success. There are many standards of success in life, but because of ignorance, the knowledge in ignorance is it completely like turns upside down. What is ignorance is seen as knowledge. And the passion is picks up one aspect of a certain thing and blows it out of proportion. That's mode of passion. Takes one thing. If you're not wearing tilak, you're not a devotee. That's it. There is no other definition of being a devotee. Does not matter whether Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave multiple definitions of a Vaishnava. If you are not doing this, you are not a devotee. That's all. We are like very narrow-minded. So that's mode of passion. So take one thing and blow it out of passion, proportion. But Krishna is not like that. You endeavored, Jatayu, I accept you. Your endeavors are successful. Just because you endeavored to say, serve me, you're already a success. Bhishma Dev served Krishna all through his life and fought on the opposite side. Just imagine for the rest of eternity, whenever Mahabharata is spoken, you will be seen as a villain who fought against Krishna. And he was ready to do that for Krishna's pleasure. And how did Krishna respond? He didn't say, you're a failure, you fought on the opposite side. No, he came to him at the time of passing away. How many of us can claim that Krishna will be personally present? Of course, Krishna is always present in the form of his holy name, and he can be present even without being personally, like physically seen by us. But Krishna was personally present when he was giving up his body. He was looking at the face of Lord Krishna and leaving his body. The fortune of Haridas Thakur also, that he could look at the face of Sri Gaura Chandra and give up his body. Gajendra practiced devotional service, fell away. Krishna came to him at the right time and he called. He didn't say, you have become an elephant, you're a failure. No. Ajamila is not even like declared as like a pure devotee or anything like that, but still he took the name of Krishna, Narayan, and Krishna was there. He didn't say, you fell away with a prostitute, so you're a rascal. No, you took the holy name, I am here to help you. Vritrasur, all these people, Vajamal is one person who attempted to practice devotion service. Here is Chitraketu Maharaj, who personally saw Lord Sankarshan, received initiation, directly having darshan of the Supreme Lord, comes back, gets cursed, becomes a demon. Apparently looks like a complete failure. You have performed devotion service, not performed, perfected devotion service, had direct darshan of Supreme Lord, and then gets like cursed to be a demon. No failure. Krishna personally protected him. So Bhagavatam turned the hierarchy. Demons are always the villains, demigods are always the heroes in the Vedic scriptures, in the Rig Veda, on all these Vedas. Bhagavatam turns it upside down. If you're a devotee and if you're a demon, still you are the hero. Maybe King Indra is a demigod, not a pure devotee. Discount him. I support you. You are the hero of the battle. So Vritrasur lost the battle, apparent failure, but actually attained the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. So failure is not external. Prithu Maharaj and Indra. Prithu Maharaj only performed 99, gave up the 100th yajna, which is the final yajna to qualify. Not a failure. The 100 yajnas performed by Indra is not as great as the 99 yajnas performed by Prithu Maharaj, and especially the one yajna he gave up, that is considered completely fruitful because Vishnu personally came and accepted. Vishnu only comes personally when the yajna is successful, and Vishnu was there personally accepting the offerings of Prithu Maharaj, even though he did not perform the yajna. So the apparent failures in devotional service is not necessarily a failure as long as we have purity of intention. And when I say that, I feel like Krishna, that's not how it works, because I don't have purity of intention. What's going to happen? So how Krishna works is, it's the sincerity of our intention in the beginning, because purity is progressive. It gradually manifests. Krishna is a practical God. So he sees if we are sincere in our intentions and our purity is here, and if we are working to increase the purity, Krishna still will accept us. Eventually, we should actually strive to become more and more pure, not being complacent. Oh, okay, I'm already so pure, great. People consider me a great devotee, so I should be great. I must be great. No, we should have sincerity of intention in what we are doing. We may not be pure. We may be completely bound by various things. But if we have sincerity of intention, whatever purity we have or we don't have, continue to endeavor with sincerity, then what Krishna sees is that intention. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam, right by its setting, glorifies Bhakti Yoga. Because Parikshit Maharaj was the king of the whole world, gets cursed by a small boy. Just imagine you're the most powerful person in the earth and gets cursed by a 7-year-old small boy. and you will die in 7 days. And what kind of death? A snake comes and bites. When you're like conscious, you might have heard Bhagavatam for 7 days. Just imagine a snake like giving out fire, coming and like biting you. How, like, will there not be any fear? Like, come on, like, let's be honest. It's like scary just to like think it, like clear, picturizing it. But he has to undergo that. And people may consider, what's the use of practicing all that? You are a failure. You got cursed by a small boy. What's the use of all your power and devotion, everything? No, but Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna used that apparent failure of a devotee to establish to the whole world at the time of death, no other yoga works. Just by its setting, Srimad Bhagavatam rejected karma kanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, demigod worship, ashtanga yoga, hatha yoga, all kinds of processes. Only one thing that is suitable at that time when he's about to die, that is bhakti yoga. So Krishna has its plan for each one of us. So we don't need to be bothered so much about the external successes and failures of even our devotional endeavors. So the real success is to please Krishna. And if we are keeping our intent there and trying our best, whatever we can do, let's keep, again, let's not be distracted by just the apparent results of our activities. Let's again bring back and say, Krishna, this is your like sanction, whether it's success or failure. So let me focus my heart more and more. That's what Kunti Maharani prayed. Let my mind flow like Ganges flows towards sea. However, many big stones, small stones, dams, anything, the river continues to flow towards its goal. Likewise, my mind, let it continuously, progressively flow towards you amidst all these obstacles of success and failure. Success in life is also an obstacle because it's much easier to handle failure. It's not at all easy to handle successes. It's much more bewildering than failure sometimes. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna tested me first by taking away everything when he was trying to do service to his spiritual master, spread Krishna consciousness. Everything was a failure. Didn't work out at Jhansi. Just printing a book was like a Himalayan effort. At that time, we had no money, no support. Everything was a failure. Krishna tested by not facilitating Prabhupada to a large extent. But later, he gave everything. Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna first took away everything from me and tested, and Krishna gave me everything later and tested. And I came out with flying colors in through both the tests, because his focus was, how can I serve Krishna in this particular situation? So even though he became a Jagat Guru, he was still humble. He was continuing his service to his spiritual master and giving him all glories. So that is our Srila Prabhupada teaching us how to live as a devotee and live as a devotee. So he showed everything for us to learn and practice, and very merciful, accommodative, and understanding. So what more we can ask from a spiritual master? Is not just pure, exalted, but is also very understanding, accommodative, merciful, forgiving. So it is not a license for us to be a nonsense, but it is a hope for us to be when we are a nonsense. But we have hope. Okay, let me be more and more pure, and let me become a servant of Srila Prabhupada and my Guru. So in that way, any apparent success or failure in our lives, we don't need to worry about that. Krishna has the scale. So our success or failure is in Krishna's hands. So we don't need to be bothered much, but we endeavor to do anything that we do nicely for the pleasure of Krishna and devotees, and for the pleasure of our spiritual masters. That is our duty. And the rest, whatever we can, we try the best and leave the rest to Krishna. But we endeavor 100%. We don't become lazies or crazies, because we become lazy when we think, oh, it's all destiny, it's all, anyway, Krishna will take care. We become crazy, we think I am the only person who will get this done. So then we become like completely agitated by it. So we don't want to be lazy or crazy. We just want to be actually completely under Krishna's protection, Guru and Sadhu Shastra's protection, and endeavor our best and chant Hare Krishna and be happy. It's possible to be a devotee and be happy even when we are not completely pure, because the happiness comes from the sincerity of our intention, and that knowing that Krishna is so wonderful, he's so merciful, he's never going to give me up. So that's what is our happiness. That's where our strength, confidence, everything comes from. So with that, we have few minutes for any discussion points. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. I'll pass on the mic if anyone needs to share something.
Beautiful class, Gaura Prabhu. Okay, we'll open it up for Q&A. Please keep your contributions concise and pertinent. Let's go. Hare Krishna, who's first?
There is Evan Prabhu speaking. Can you guys hear?
No, maybe you can repeat, Gaura Prabhu. The mic won't do it.
I think they should be able to hear you now.
So I was speaking with someone very senior about simple. Got 3 minutes. Okay. And he said that you can tell that Krishna's desire is, you can tell what Krishna's desire is by how easy you make it when you're endeavoring. That a bit confusing because I was thinking, I don't know what to endeavor for, and like not given specific instruction. I mean, that's like for big things like career and whatever service. But if you have a project you want to do, you just have it inspires to, and so should I endeavor? How do I know when to endeavor? Like this is not Krishna's desire. Because I'm also thinking a little bit deeper this year about like following the group instruction. But temporary exploring, why we're using exploring all these things like they're just standing, but continue to go. So.
Since there's like short time, Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Samahita. So if we have direct touch, if we are in touch with Paramatma, then much.
What was the question? What was the question again?
The question is, how do we know what is Krishna's desire for us? Because sometimes we endeavor, it is not working. Are we supposed to continue to endeavor thinking that we have to be persevering in this situation, or we should be giving up thinking, oh, it's not Krishna's desire for me? So, Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Samahita. A person who has controlled his mind, who has conquered his mind, he has a direct contact with Paramatma. But most of us cannot claim that. So then the external manifestation of Paramatma for us is the spiritual master. So the easiest thing is to go to him to clarify things. But sometimes we don't have direct contact, then at least we should have some siksha. So the main problem in general in ISKCON is like there is no strong siksha. People like become devotees, they take diksha, but they just think their life is independent. They just have to figure it out. They have to follow on their own. They think they have to do everything on their own. They don't think if my guru is not there, there are others who can give me siksha. So they don't take shelter of other devotees. So then it becomes very difficult. It's not that we will not advance in devotional service. Again, I'm not going to make it absolute. You don't have siksha, you are not a devotee. No, I'm not going to say that. But I'm saying it will be difficult. We will waste time. We will go through difficulties unnecessarily. If we take shelter of someone, take guidance and continue to follow that. And if we are taking guidance and sincerely endeavoring,
it's 8 o'clock.
Have faith that Krishna will give you the intelligence from inside. You will be able to figure it out. But first of all, we need to be humble to take guidance and try to follow that. Then that knowledge will come, whether it is right or not, because there is always like we are not like Prabhupada or someone who knows, okay, I'm a Jagat Guru and I'm like meant to be establishing that. So he perseveres. Of course, it's not that easy. He's also showing his sincerity. But for us, we need guidance. And if we take guidance and sincerely endeavor, Krishna will show us what is right or wrong. So this is my little answer, but I would like to hear from Adipurush Prabhu.
It's an excellent question. How do you know what you're supposed to do? Your sincerity is manifest by the fact that you can see. Krishna can answer you. Saying, if you're a shisha, which is like a representative of your spiritual, he can speak to you if you're a child. He can speak to you if you're a voice from the sky. Hey, do this. He can speak to you through a dream. And we sometimes say we can't hear what Krishna is saying. Why is that? I have an attachment to this answer. I have an aversion to that answer. So we have the responsibility to be careful about our attachments and our aversions. And if we say, Krishna, I'll go whatever way you want, Krishna will speak to you.
I hope you all could hear what Adipushpa was saying.
Nope. No. Can you repeat, please?
Adipushpa was saying how, like, if we are, we have to turn to Krishna and take guidance from devotees and not be attached to our own aversions or attachments. When we pray, we should not think, oh, if I need this kind of an answer, particular kind of an answer. So if we are not having attachments and aversions and are like free to hear what Krishna is suggesting through devotees from our heart, then we'll be able to follow. That's what Adipushpa's realization is. So thank you, Prabhu. I also have to open the altar for darshan. So I take your leave. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hari Krishna.
Prabhu ki jai. Thank you. Beautiful class, Prabhu. Beautiful, wonderful, bona fide, inspiring, hope given. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some days it works. It's even more period.